Franco Colapinto might be joining Red Bull next year, and Oscar Piastri snagged pole position for the sprint race. That's what we're diving into in today's video. But first, let's talk qualifying, because there's a lot of buzz around who's going to be with Red Bull next year. According to an article linked down below, Isaac Hadjar is reportedly a strong contender for the carb seat, which would mean Lawson moves up to Red Bull, and Hadjar takes the carb spot. And yes, this would mean Perez would really be out. But here's where it gets interesting. There's conflicting info, because Ruben Duray, producer of A To Do Motor, is saying Franco Colapinto is locked in as Red Bull's number 2 driver for 2025. And when he says number 2, he's talking about replacing Perez, not joining carb. Oh, and Christian Horner? He was caught on camera leaving the Williams motorhome. This is not speculation, he was actually filmed leaving there. So, it looks like something's definitely going on with Colapinto, even if it's just carb, like we mentioned in a recent video. Now, if Colapinto goes straight to Red Bull, and Lawson stays at carb, there might be some tension with Tsunoda and Lawson. And Colapinto? He's been off to a blazing start in F1, so going directly to Red Bull would be huge. Let's see how this all unfolds. There's still the matter of negotiations with Williams. Personally, I'd still bet on Colapinto at carb with Lawson at Red Bull. But if Colapinto jumps straight to the main team, that'd be a surprise. Which setup do you think would be better? Now, for the sprint race qualifying. This grid got a bit mixed up, even more than we expected. Right in SQ1, we lost Joe Stroll, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Alonso. So yeah, the 2 Aston Martins, which just can't seem to perform, didn't make it through. Tsunoda, who's trailing Lawson, didn't make it either. Joe had a pretty bad lap and got knocked out too. Same goes for Ocon, some surprises and some not so much. Then, in SQ2, we lost Bottas, Colapinto, Perez, Hülkenberg, and Hamilton. And Colapinto didn't even get a chance to run his last lap. A shame with so many Argentine fans cheering at Interlagos. Hamilton and Perez getting knocked out was surprising too, well, at least Hamilton was. Perez, not so much. His performance has been slipping for a while now. He's probably just riding out his contract at this point since he can't deliver, so he's likely on his way out at Red Bull. Some are even saying the Brazilian Grand Prix might be his last one. Now, as for Hamilton, even though he hasn't had a great second half of the season, it was still unexpected to see him drop out in SQ2. The second half of the season has just been him battling with this Mercedes car. He just can't seem to get comfortable with it. Moving on to SQ3, Berman managed to get his car up there, an impressive result, but his lap was deleted. He probably would have been knocked down anyway since he made a mistake on that lap. Albon pushing his Williams to SQ3 was great too. And Lawson? He snagged 8th in SQ3, awesome. Gasly did a miracle out there, squeezing out every bit of performance from his Alpine. Now, let's get to the top of the grid. Russell in 6th, Sainz in 4th, Verstappen also in 4th, and Leclerc in 3rd. Verstappen? A bit of a question mark, or at least, he was until now. 4th place isn't where we're used to seeing him, so either it was a one-off or Red Bull's weekend is looking a bit weaker. If Red Bull is really off pace, it could be a chance for Norris to finally gain points on Verstappen, something Norris hasn't managed much of this season. And the McLarens? They're coming in strong, with both drivers fighting for the pole. Piastri grabbed pole by 0.02 of a second. Both McLarens were so close together. Piastri really needs to make his mark, especially after a few rough races. He's had a couple of poor showings with just one good race here and there. He has to step it up, but McLaren's showing that they're here to fight for wins again. Now, Ferrari's race pace has been one of the best lately, so if it's a Ferrari-McLaren head-to-head, Verstappen might have his hands full keeping Norris off his back. We'll have to see how Verstappen's pace holds up against his main rivals too. But this qualifying session might not be the best predictor, given the mild temperature and a track that was in a bit of a limbo, not fully wet, not dry. Tomorrow's conditions might change things up. And there you have it, McLaren's 1-2 for the sprint race. What do you think? Drop a comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. See you in the next one.